Even though he nearly dies in every episode, Kenny has still established himself as a beloved character in the hearts of his fans. But how did he become that fan-favorite character we know and love today? What are some mysterious facts about him you never knew? Kenny McCormick might seem like an average poor kid from a small town in Colorado, but his journey is far from ordinary. He went from being a simple character to becoming a beloved icon in South Park. Kenny's story is about never giving up and growing as a person. We can absolutely learn from his journey and apply those lessons to our own lives. So in this video, we will walk through the life and evolution of one of the most beloved characters in South Park, Kenny McCormick. But before that, ensure you have subscribed to our channel and liked the video. If we talk honestly, Kenny McCormick is one of the very satisfying characters of South Park. Although he nearly dies in every episode, Kenny has established himself as a beloved character in the hearts of his fans. Kenny's journey has been anything but ordinary, from a poor kid in South Park to his transformation into a superhero. Throughout the series, Kenny deals with issues such as poverty, peer pressure, and the challenges of growing up. Unlike any other character of South Park, Kenny comes from a poor family in a small Colorado town and is known for wearing an orange parka that covers most of his face and muffles his voice. Primarily, Kenny's character rings true with the viewers who face similar struggles. Another point about the character that lightens up the viewer's mood is that he is inspiring and heartwarming. For instance, in one episode, Kenny struggles to fit in with a group of kids all wearing expensive clothes. He can't afford to buy new clothes, so he tries to sew patches onto his old ones. Going through something like this is a real trauma, and this struggle is relatable to many who have faced social pressure to fit in, but lack the resources. In another episode, Kenny deals with his parents' neglectful behavior. He takes on a parental role for his younger sister and tries to provide for her as best he can. This situation is relatable to many people who have grown up in difficult family situations and had to take on adult responsibilities at a young age. In simpler words, he works hard to support his family, even in a prostitute role or living alone in a hopeless place. He always holds up to the humor or his willpower to make the very best out of the 100-level worst situations. One of Kenny's character's defining and most prominent characteristics is his unpredictability. In the first season alone, Kenny died 13 times. Microwaved to death, mauled by a bear, impaled by a flagpole, abducted and killed by aliens, killed by a volcanic eruption, crushed to death by Miss Crabtree's, the bus driver, breasts when the bus crashed, shot in the head by military when turned into a zombie in of the episode, and despite his frequent deaths, he always returned in the next episode without any explanation, adding to his dramatic and iconic status in the show. This unpredictability can make him seem mysterious and more relatable to people. In real life, people are also unpredictable, and we never quite know what to expect from them. Just like Kenny, we all have our own stories, struggles, and journeys of personal growth and evolution. By watching Kenny's journey on the show, we can see how someone can transform and become different from who they once were. It reminds us that we all have the potential to grow and change, no matter how unpredictable we may seem at first glance. Now, although Karen is often portrayed as bratty and annoying, Kenny always has her back. He may be rough around the edges, but he's fiercely protective of his sister, even fighting off bullies and evil forces to keep her safe. Moreover, Kenny's love for Karen is a beautiful thing. He may be a foul-mouthed troublemaker, but when it comes to his little sis, he's a big ol' softie. And honestly, who wouldn't want a brother like that? Sure, he may die every once in a while, but at least you know he'll always come back to make sure you're okay. Let's talk about another visible characteristic of Kenny McCormick: his development. Honestly, the basic and the most important part of the show is his development. Throughout the series, his journey from a naive kid to a more understanding and mature one is gradual. In the early seasons, Kenny was often portrayed as a one-dimensional character, often getting himself killed in gruesome ways without much thought or explanation. No longer was he just a one-dimensional character whose only concern was avoiding a gruesome death. He began to care about others and their struggles, especially when it came to his fellow underprivileged kids. In one episode, Kenny even stood up to a bully to protect a needy kid. Who knew this little guy had it in him? And in another episode, Kenny kicked the bucket and ended up in heaven, facing the ultimate existential crisis. He had to decide whether to stay in paradise or return to his loved ones. Talk about a tough decision. But Kenny's loyalty and love for his family and friends won out in the end. Kenny's transformation was slow and steady through it all, like a turtle that suddenly sprouted wings. He learned to understand the world around him, and even though he still met his untimely demise on occasion, he had become a deeper, more compassionate person. So let Kenny's journey be a lesson to us all. Even if you start out as a one-dimensional character, there's always room for growth and change. Interestingly, Kenny's love life is more complicated than a soap opera plot. Despite his many deaths and resurrections, he had difficulty finding someone to stick with him through thick and thin. He had crushes, flings, and even a girlfriend. But his relationships always seemed to end in tragedy, just like his many deaths. But as they say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And Kenny's failed romances helped him grow as a character. He learned the hard way about the ups and downs of love, the importance of communication, and the dangers of rushing into things. His relationship issues gave him a new perspective on life and helped him become more understanding and empathetic towards others. So, while Kenny's love life may have been a mess, it ultimately helped him become a better person. And who knows, maybe one day he'll find his true love and live happily ever after, as happily as you can in South Park. Kenny's growth in the show is like a classic story of a small guy who wins. He started as a character who didn't have much depth. He was just a poor kid from a small town who kept dying in terrible ways, which sometimes is hurtful to watch, won't lie. But as the show continued, he slowly became a complex and interesting character with a story worth telling. And definitely, a person you can watch for hours without getting bored. Let us tell you about Kenny in South Park. A little more about this character. This guy is hilarious. One thing that makes him so unique is his catchphrase, "Oh my God, they killed Kenny." His friends say it every time he dies, which is a lot, let me tell you. It's like his catchphrase is almost a self-fulfilling prophecy. I mean, it's classic. Every time he bites the dust, you can count on his friends to react with that old line. How he manages to keep it all together with all these deaths and catchphrases is undoubtedly a wonder. But that's just Kenny for you, always keeping us on our toes and giving us a good laugh, even when he's 6 feet under. Let's talk about Kenny's appearance. This kid always wears this giant, puffy orange parka that makes him look like a walking pumpkin. I mean, it's so huge that he could fit a whole family of squirrels in there with him. And you know what's even crazier? He wears that thing even when it's scorching hot outside. Honestly, he's like a human marshmallow roasting on an open fire. And let's talk about his face for a second. You can only see his eyes and mouth hidden under his hood. It's like he's a ninja or something, ready to strike at any moment. Maybe he's hiding a secret identity under there. Who knows? So yeah, Kenny's appearance, catchphrases, and repeated deaths have made him one of South Park's most iconic and popular characters. His portrayal illustrates the show's talent for developing distinct characters who remain popular with viewers over time. That's it for today's video, and we hope you liked it. Now here's a farewell to you, Kenny McCormick. Thanks for the laughs, the tears, and the countless deaths we'll never forget. You may be gone, but your memory will live on, at least until the next time you come back to life. Remember to subscribe to the channel and share the video in your circle. See you in the next video.